folks, it's Aspen back here with another Forestry Talks podcast here in the Mackenzie Region celebrating the Forest Capital of Canada designation, and I am so pleased to be joined by Reeve Knelson. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you very much for having me.
Good, yeah. So you have been Reeve for, you were sharing with me just on the break here, 9 years?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about what that has been like in this role working for your community.
Well, it's been an interesting ride. To be quite honest, shortly after I became Reeve, we had floods. We had the floods of 2009. 2018, we had the Buttertown floods. And then 2019, we had the Chuckegg fire, where a lot of communities, including Lacrete, Fort Vermilion, High Level, and surrounding area, were affected. So it's been busy. And then back to 2020, we had the floods in Fort Vermilion once again. And here we're surrounded by forest fires once again in 2024. So it's been challenging. It's been rewarding. We've made it through everything so far, and we're resilient people up here. And so I'm confident that we will continue to thrive.
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing says resilience like a Northern Alberta community who is very familiar with some of the natural events, some of the disturbances that we might be kind of seeing throughout the year. It's certainly a very hot week, and we've got a number of wildfires in the community right now. Can you talk about that?
Well, yeah, it's concerning. It looked really good there at the beginning of the season. We were concerned with the drought, and we had very little snow, but we had very timely rains in spring. Which helped us, but now we've got fires all around us. Really, I don't even know what the latest count is to date. But I know there's the community of Garden River is really under threat. Châtier was under threat, and Fox Lake as well. So and then the timber, obviously, is a concern too. When we have fires like that, then we're concerned about the people in the homes first and foremost, but it's always in the back of your mind as well that how is this going to affect logging in the forestry industry moving forward?
Yeah, forestry is a huge economic driver in this part of the province. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Mackenzie Region has one of, if not the biggest forestry workforce in the province. Would you say that's fair?
I would say, yeah, it would definitely rival any place anywhere.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about the role that forestry plays in your community?
Well, everybody in one way or the other in every community is reliant on forestry to a certain extent, be it here in the town of High Level with the mills and the jobs that they provide, or the truck drivers that haul the logs to the mill, or the people that are actively logging in the bush. I mean, there's a lot of people that go out for the wintertime and build their farms like that. There's very, very few people, in all reality, in the whole north that aren't touched by forestry in one way or the other. And especially we've seen a decline in the oil and gas, unfortunately, but forestry has been a very strong, prominent player in providing homes and food for family.
Yeah, unlike kind of the typical boom and bust cycle with oil and gas, forestry tends to be a little bit of a steadier sector. Agriculture is also a really big sector here. And I think something that I've observed that I think is pretty unique about this area is a lot of folks will actually work in both agriculture and forestry. What do you see there? Absolutely.
That's very common. I mean, that's how I grew up. That's how I grew up with my dad doing that kind of stuff. I was actually looking for a picture. I was going to show you a picture. There was a cool picture of my dad and his brother years ago when they were young, hauling logs for a local sawmill with horses in the wintertime.
Wow, yeah.
And it's kind of like, well, we've come a long way. You see the farm or the logging equipment now. It's you're not doing a whole bunch of horse logging anymore. But yeah, so it's been part of my life and a part of most people's lives that have grown up around here in one way or another.
And how are folks striking that balance and able to work in both? What does that look like?
I think it fits well. Like we're starting to see a little bit more summer logging from time to time now. It used to never be at all, really. But I mean, there's a lull in farming in the wintertime where you maybe move your grain, but other than working on your equipment and getting everything fixed up for the following summer, you have time to go and work. And most people are fairly ambitious, and so they want to do something. And so forestry is just an excellent opportunity to do that.
Yeah. So Josh, can you tell me, what does your vision look like for forestry in this region?
I think my vision for forestry in this region would be something that will be enjoyed for generations. And if it's done properly, which we have specialists and environmentalists and whatever else that are paying attention and deciding what the annual cut is and what have you. And if that's all done properly, and the tree planting program combined with the tree planting program, it's a renewable resource that can go on to infinity, really.
Yeah.
And I expect that to be the case out here, because there's been, for so many years and so many generations, so many farms and yards and homes have been built with work in the forest industry. So if the responsibility continues, and if it's done properly, it will carry on to be like that for generations to come.
And Josh, you were talking about your that photo of your dad,
Right.
in with the horses pulling the logs. Do you have much connection to the industry personally, to forestry?
Well, I know a lot of people that are in the logging industry, from contractors to people operating equipment to what have you. I myself haven't for a while, but I have spent years also in the forestry industry, for anything from running a Fuller buncher to a processor to a skidder to what have you, a dozer, building roads, and I've enjoyed it. There's nothing quite like it when you're sitting on a machine somewhere and you're listening to Johnny Horton, Whispering Pines, and you're in the spruce trees, and and you're by yourself, and it's fun. The smell that comes with it, like you have to have done it to be able to appreciate it.
Yeah.
Just like if you're on the farm and you're disking your field, there's a certain smell that comes with it. Or if you walk into a sawmill, there's a smell of wood that some people might not like. I love it.
Yeah.
Or if you're logging, if you go into a cut block, there's a certain smell, and it's invigorating. It's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's great you talk about some of the different, equipment that people are operating and stuff. I find it's not unlikely in this part of the province, people wear a lot of hats and the different jobs that they do. And so sometimes I'll call one of our members that are up here, and it's somebody who might typically have more of an office job, who's just hopped in the Feller buncher or the skidder. And, there's a lot of that, right? Everybody's digging in and helping and being part of the work. Totally.
No, it's fun work. It really is.
Yeah. So I was chatting earlier with Councillor Wardley about the tree planting event that's coming up this weekend, and just how incredibly hard the tree planters work. Have you had a chance to try your hand at any tree planting?
Actually, I bought my first motorbike with money that I made tree planting when I was 14 years old in the summertime.
Did you?
Yes. Yeah.
Tell me about that summer. What was that like for you? Eye-opening, I imagine. It
was hard work, and it gave me motivation to listen to the teacher and stay in school a little bit longer. But
the tree planting life wasn't for you long term?
No, but I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
I've gone back after in a different capacity. Like I planted then when I was a kid, I guess, really. And I did enjoy it. I really did enjoy it. I was planting, I think, around the 1,400 to 1,500 trees a day, which is, and I thought I was working hard.
Yeah.
But there's people that are planting thousands and thousands of trees, like 7, 8. I don't even know what the new record is or what people do nowadays, but I know when we're hauling trees and helping supply a camp and such, it wasn't uncommon for a whole bunch of people to have 6,000 to 7,000 trees a day that they planted.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting for sure. Yeah.
It's hard work. I have so much respect for the people that are out in the bush dealing with that.
Yeah, totally.
And so, as you know, we're here celebrating the Forest Capital of Canada designation here. And part of that celebration is talking about people's connection to the forest. So we've talked a little bit about the work aspect, but, with such a huge forest area right here in your backyard, what does your connection look like to the forest?
Well, I love the forest. I love the outdoors. I live 25 kilometers from the community of Lacrete. I live right up against the Buffalo Hills, so there's crown land right behind my place. There's snowmobile trails. So I love the outdoors, and it works well. Like I'm a big snowmobiler. I love hunting and fishing and all that good stuff. And the local mills have been really good. They work with us to help with snowmobile trails and communicate which roads they'll be using and which roads we can use or which roads we can groom and what have you. They'll even drop off some wood from time to time as needed at certain locations that we have set up for warm-up shacks and stuff. So it all fits together really well, and it's like, I often think that, you know, I take it for granted because for me it's life, and in a way, and it should be, I think, for many, but for many people it would be something that you'd only read about. The life that I actually truly live is something that people just read about in books, and so I'm very fortunate, along with I think most people that live in the area here, and that's why people do live out here, because I mean we don't have big shopping centers, we don't have big malls, so if you're not into the outdoors. In forestry and nature, it's not really a place for you.
But if you are, it's a great reason that, you know, Mackenzie Region is an awesome place to work and play.
It's second to none.
Yeah.
Absolutely second to none.
Yeah. I love, you know, you talking about the mills bringing some lumber or whatever to build trails and stuff like that. You really do see that in forestry communities, how everybody in the community comes together, because this is a lifestyle that people really get behind, and they want to be able to explore that and do that together.
Totally.
Yeah. Do you have examples of other work that the mills might be supporting in the community here?
I guess to point out a specific thing is maybe hard, because they're in every day, be it at a fundraiser, be it at a community event, they're there in whichever capacity. It varies, obviously, but they're a living part of the community, and I think making a conscious effort to do their part, to do what they can, and however that looks at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. So, you know, as you know, I made the journey up here from just north of the Edmonton area. So it's about a 7-hour drive. I'd say it's a pretty far trek up here, one of the most, if not the most northern parts of the province here. So not a lot of people might have the opportunity to come out and check what Mackenzie Region is all about. For those people that haven't had an opportunity to check out this region, what would you want them to know?
Well, you've missed out. You've missed out, and what are you waiting for? We got long days, especially the summer days. I mean, I'm sure you've noticed here the days are getting shorter, but yet you go at 11.
Feel like it.
No, you go out at 11 o'clock and it's daylight. So there's a lot of goodness out here. Like just being outside and breathing the fresh air. Other than right now, we have a little bit of smoke in the air, but for most part on the typical year, it's refreshing. It's revitalizing. It's therapeutic, basically, to come out here and just be out here, to live. And you go for a walk and you'll see whatever it is, maybe a bear, a deer, and some coyotes or foxes. Well, they're harmless for most part, fortunately. But I like it. I really appreciate it. That's why I've lived here my whole life. And like I said, my kids are the 4th generation to live within the county here. So it's home. Yeah. It truly is home.
Yeah, absolutely. And then just my last question for you, Josh. What is so significant or special about this designation with Mackenzie Region as the forest capital of Canada this year? What does that mean to you?
Well, I think it's fitting. It's really fitting, because forestry really does play a really big part in this region. If it wasn't for forestry and forestry operations, all these communities wouldn't be what they are. It doesn't matter if it's Lacrete, Fort Vermilion, High Level, the surrounding First Nation communities. Everybody is plugged into forestry in one way or another, and without forestry, it would be very bleak here. Very bleak.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a huge part of the province, but, as somebody who represents the forest industry, I don't want to say aside from the industry, because that is my whole job. But this celebration is also, bigger even than just the industry itself. It's about the forest and celebrating the recreation opportunities and all of the things that you talked about make this such a great place to call home.
Totally. And I think very often people try to make it look like it's you're just clearing the forest and you're destroying homes and this and that. When in reality you're not. You're building habitat. any moose hunters will know, if you go into a new little log cut block, that's where you want to go. Like it's good for the habitat. It's good for the animals, and yeah, the designation, I think it was a long time coming. There's a lot of big forestry companies out here, and a lot of small ones. We have the Tokos and the West Frasers, but then we have the smaller mills, the Crestviews and the Evergreen and Lacrete sawmills, and which are, like, in all reality, most places considered fairly small mills, but they do supply jobs, and they're, some of them are multi-generational. So I think it's really fitting, and it's something to be proud of, and I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Awesome. Right on. Well, Josh, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for joining me for another episode of Forestry Talks, a podcast that explores all things forestry in Alberta. If you're curious to learn more, check out our website, albertaforestproducts.ca or loveabforest.ca. I'm your host, Aspen, and I'll see you next time.
This series is proudly produced by the team at Road 55. Road 55 creates content that connects. For more information, visit our website at road55.ca.